Grandmaster Yoda and Sith Emperor Vitiate are two of the most powerful characters in Star Wars history. But who would come out on top if there was a battle between these two powerful Force wielders? Master Yoda was born 900 years before the Battle of Yavin, and after a few decades he would join the Jedi Order. Here, he would master lightsaber combat and develop his understanding of the Force. He would eventually become Grand Master of the Order and train many pupils to knighthood. However, at the end of the Clone Wars, the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, would commence Order 66, in when most of the Jedi would be executed. Yoda would survive and confront Sidious in a lightsaber duel, which would end in a stalemate, and Yoda was forced to go into exile on Dagobah. There he would wait for the son of the Chosen One, Luke Skywalker, and eventually, in the year 3 BBY, he would become one with the Force. Tenebrae was born 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, and at the age of 6 he'd already killed his stepfather and taken control of his village. At the age of 13, he had conquered his home planet and defeated his father, a Sith Lord. Then he went to the Sith homeworld of Korriban, where he met Marco Ragnos, the current Dark Lord of the Sith, who made him Darth Vitiate. After the death of Marco Ragnos, Vitiate wisely chose not to get involved in the power struggle which would ensue. After Naga Sadow's defeat in the Hyperspace War, however, Vitiate would lead the remaining Sith Lords to his homeworld, where they would conduct a ritual which would end all life on the planet other than Vitiate's. Vitiate would take their power. Vitiate would rule over a powerful Sith Empire for the next 1,000 years or so, where he would orchestrate the Mandalorian Wars, which he used to create havoc amongst the galaxy. However, his greater plan was to create enough death so he could recreate the ritual he did on his home world on a galaxy-sized level. However, when the Jedi Order found out about this, they sent the Hero of Tython to destroy Vitiate, who he would do to some degree. However, he would return as Valkorion, but eventually his spirit would be defeated. Yoda was a master of all 7 forms of lightsaber combat, as this is shown by his training of many Jedi pupils, all 7 of the lightsaber forms. However, he specialised in Form 4, Atari, which he had mastered to an nth degree. The form involved great acrobatics and a ferocious attack, and due to Yoda's small size, he had a great amount of agility, and he could use the Force to augment his physical capabilities. Yoda was able to beat 2 of the most powerful lightsaber wielders at the time in Count Dooku and Darth Sidious. Yoda was unlucky not to be able to kill Sidious if it wasn't for his powerful Force lightning which blew his lightsaber out of his hand. Speaking of his lightsaber, due to his small size, Yoda had to use a Shoto lightsaber. Due to its light weight, this allowed Yoda to have more maneuverability at the expense of reach. Vitiate, on the other hand, had a mild understanding of all 7 lightsaber forms, but preferred Form 7, which he had a slight mastery in. However, he greatly favoured Force abilities, and as shown in his fight with the Hero of Typhon, his lightsaber skills were pretty useless. However, I can give Vitiate credit for using a lightsaber rather than a Sith sword, which meant that he could stay with the times. His lightsaber was fairly basic, however. This one's pretty simple. While Vitiate would be able to stand up to Yoda for a time, it would not be long before Yoda would outmaneuver him and slice him up. Grandmaster Yoda is the superior lightsaber wielder. Yoda had a very high Force potential and was a master of telekinesis, being able to lift Luke Skywalker's X-Wing out of a swamp. He was also well versed in the Jedi mind trick, having mastered the ability for a long time. Yoda was also very skilled with Tutaminis, being able to absorb blaster bolts and Force lightning. However, he was not able to block lightsabers, like Shakti. Yoda was also able to augment his physical abilities. For a 900-year-old species, he was very agile and fast for his old age. Yoda was also able to become a Force ghost after his death. This was a feat that very few Jedi had achieved. After his ritual, Vitiate became madly overpowered. He was more powerful than he should have been. He was a master of telekinesis, being able to force push even the strongest of Jedi. He could use Force lightning to devastating effect, being able to generate black Force lightning. His knowledge of tutor minutes is also very strong, as he could block lightsabers with his bare hands. Vitiate was also a master of Sith sorcery and alchemy, being able to destroy a whole planet. However, this did need the help of other Sith Lords and took weeks of preparation, so would not be able to use in a fight like this. Vitiate was also able to create lifelike images of himself which could be used in combat. They could even hold a lightsaber and damage enemies. Although he could preserve his life for many centuries, he was not immortal, and he could not preserve his spirit after death, like Yoda. His spirit would die eventually. Both Yoda and Vitiate could not use telekinesis against each other in a straight-off Force battle. However, they could catch each other off guard. I would argue that Vitiate has more telekinetic power. Vitiate's Force lightning would not be useful either, as Yoda's defences would be too strong, and he would not be able to penetrate them. Sith sorcery and alchemy would not come into play here either, as they take time, and Yoda would be mentally strong enough to resist them. Yoda is not strong enough to attack Vitiate using the Force directly. However, Vitiate could use his ability to create mimics of himself, could be used to distract Yoda, giving him a slight edge. Vitiate is the stronger Force wielder. And Vitiate would immediately shock Yoda with Force lightning. However, this attack would fail, as Yoda would absorb it with his tutor minutes and fire it back at Vitiate. Realising that the contest could not be decided by their knowledge of the Force, but their skills with a lightsaber, Yoda would attack Vitiate with a high-speed offensive. However, Vitiate's defences would hold up, using both tutor minutes and his lightsaber to block Yoda. However, Vitiate quickly became overwhelmed and used a powerful telekinetic push to send Yoda flying. He would then send his copies of himself to attack Yoda, but Yoda would send them flying back at their master, knocking him over with a huge force. Yoda would use the advantage to rush Vitiate with his lightsaber and quickly attack him. A now exhausted Vitiate would put up a struggling defence, and eventually Yoda would flip over him and slice him in half. Vitiate's spirit would try and attack Yoda, but fail miserably, and it would escape to try and find a new host. This would leave a battered and bruised Yoda alive and the victor. I hope you enjoyed this video, but please remember, this is just my opinion, and of course it's alright for you to have your own opinion. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy and want to see more of this content, and have a good day.